And the president's address before the Knesset today, the Israeli parliament, he gave his vision for the future of the Middle East in the midst of cause for great celebration in that region today.
This is the end of the age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
And after the historic day, the president heads home, where challenges await back here at home. The country has reached day 3, or really the Congress, of a government shutdown, no real off-ramp in sight. And then out west, anti-ICE protests in Portland still underway. No signs of slowing down there. Just some of what awaits the president before he lands here in the upcoming hours. Full panel here with me now here on the Hill. Mick Mulvaney, former chief of staff in the first Trump administration, News Nation contributor. Yemisi Egbewole, former White House press office chief of staff in the Biden administration. Lindsey Granger, as you know, host of Rising on the Hill. Sean Spicer back with me once again. Hello to you all. Thanks for being in on what is...
She didn't give Sean's resume.
I know.
He's former press secretary, News Nation contributor, host of the Sean Spicer.
Actual. I mean, I wasn't acting. I had the job.
Okay. There you go. I asked you what Trump, before the break, I asked you what you think he's feeling now heading back after all of this.
He's elated. I think he's just sitting in that office, that compartment, or actually, more importantly, he probably moved to the conference room, which is a room down, because he wants everybody in there excited. Everyone on that plane is wired, exhausted and wired at the same time. This trip, think about it. He left Sunday night, landed in Israel, did all of that, the speech, all that kind of stuff, greeted the hostages, on to Egypt, signed the deal, got back on the plane. He'll land at about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock this morning. And then, as Mick knows, about 6 a.m., he'll be picking up the phone, calling everybody. But he's elated. The staff's excited. I mean, this is one where you're running purely on adrenaline right now.
What comes next for him?
Unfortunately, it's going to be Epstein. That's what they're coming back to, because as soon as Congress comes in, they're going to swear in the new Democrat member of Congress, and they're going to go right back to this, and the press is going to love it, because so many people in the press can't stand that he's actually had a success. So they're going to be looking for something else to talk about, anything other than the success.
Or how predictable Mick Mulvaney is. Just so we're clear. That's how predictable. But first of all, can I just...
Hold on. For context, in the commercial break, Sean thought Mick's answer, Mick's answer of what comes next. Mick wrote it down. It was Epstein. So both of you went there.
No. I went where I thought Mick would go.
Oh, okay. Is that where it's going? Because unquestionably, this is a huge day for the Middle East, for the world, for the region, for the president, for those families. I could list another dozen of them. Yemisi. But then when he gets back home, there are big challenges before him.
Yeah, I actually agree with Mick here. Adelita Grijalva, we've been waiting on her to be sworn in. That has been one of the biggest pressure points for House Dems. There are a lot of folks that I even talked to today that work on the Hill that are looking for some kind of energy and some kind of boost, and having her come in and pivoting right back to Epstein is going to be one of those top issues.
I mean, we're 2 weeks into a government shutdown. It's beautiful that he's doing things abroad, and this was a serious issue, so I don't want to, I totally give him his credit in his last block, but also our government is not working right now. It's shut down. And so to act like we could just come home and continue to celebrate all week when we've been 2 weeks of closed, I mean, that's worth having a conversation about. People are concerned about health care, and that's a rightful concern to have
it's fair enough.
here in America. So, I mean, they can celebrate and watch the news, but they also are worried their premiums will double next year.
Well, look, let's just go through the schedule. He comes back tomorrow. There's going to be an awarding posthumously for Charlie Kirk, right? The government is closed. The House is not coming back anytime soon. I mean, I don't know how long it can handle. The Democrats are holding out for this October 18th, No Kings rally. That's what they.
No.
Absolutely, they need this thing. My point is, I do think that the Epstein thing will come back in when the House goes back into session. But let's be clear, what's going to happen? The discharge petition passes, right? It goes over to the Senate. Thune and the Senate's not going to take that up. The president's not going to sign it. So the press, Mick's right, the press will get all riled up about it. But the reality is this thing's not going anywhere. And so it will get some press attention that it happened, and that's it. But we're going to get back. I mean, look, whether you agree or not of some of the policy, healthcare is going to be a major issue. Opening the government's going to be a major issue. Making sure the troops get paid is going to be a major issue. There's a big trade war potentially going on with China. A meeting on the sidelines of ASEAN or APEC. I mean, there's a lot that's happening that's real substantive right now. And so I think that the Epstein thing may plop up, for a day or two. But at the end of it, this is not something that has legs.
So it is day 13 of this shutdown. There's no real off-ramp. You were saying this No King's Day protest. You don't believe that'll bring Democrats back into town to open the government. I guess what is the off-ramp here, as we're now 2 weeks into this?
Yeah, No Kings. I think all of the activists that exist on X will be at No Kings. I think members of Congress will stick to their districts and their states and focus on the real work that gets done. Look, what happens is Democrats hold strong. Schumer and Jeffries have done a really good job of assuaging the fears and concerns of those who are more centrist and moderate. There are some people who are feeling some pressure points, like John Ossoff, who's running in Georgia and might feel some pressure from the constituents that live there. But, I mean, a shutdown is just a game of chicken, and the person who gives up first is the person that takes the blame. And messaging is everything on this shutdown.
See, I disagree with this idea of giving up and losing, because I don't think they're the same thing. In 2013, we really did feel like we won because we planted our flag in the ground on Obamacare. In 2019, we felt the same way about immigration. And look, fast forward to 2024, everybody knew where Donald Trump was on immigration. There was no question as who was stronger in immigration in that election, in large part because we were willing to shut the government down above. Even though we gave in at the end, I don't think giving in necessarily equates to losing.
Democrats have more to lose right now because they lost an election and they don't have any much control in the Senate or the House. So it's kind of like if they give in first. I mean, if they give in first and don't push through with health care, their most winning issue, then what are they running on? What are they going into the midterms with? What wins do they have to lie their hat on? So I think it's a little bit different. Plus, there's everything going on right now in Chicago and other countries other cities across the country that is going to be on the agenda. Speaking of what President Trump is walking back into, where people are saying you're militarizing our streets and making Americans uncomfortable. So there are a slew of issues that President Trump can't just comb over because he had one win, which is why I said we should celebrate it, but look at the full picture that America, largely outside looking in, looks like a disaster.
But if we want to go a little further down the calendar, we have the first week in November, we're going to have a big election. I think New Jersey and Virginia are both going Republican. Jack Ciattarelli is going to... I'm willing to put money down. This isn't just a talking point. Jack Ciattarelli is going to win New Jersey, and I think we will sweep all 3 constitutional offices in Virginia. Jay Jones is the Terry McAuliffe of this cycle, and this has been an albatross around the Democrats' neck. The polling, the bottom has dropped out on all the Democratic candidates. Jason Miyares is now up outside the margin of error. John Reed is tied, and Winsome Sears is within 2. But the bottom line is, going in the last 3 weeks, the wind is at their back.
So this is not all but some of what is before the president, and I guess both sides of the aisle when the president lands here. Mick, the final question, I asked this of the general. As we saw the president on the world stage today, obviously a great moment with the hostages coming out and the president talking about Iran and Russia, Russia-Ukraine. A deal with the Ayatollah or a deal with Putin first, or neither?
Well, I mean, you take either one, right?
Of course.
Either one would be a huge success. I think Russia still bedevils him. I think he wants to solve that problem. I think he really doesn't like war, by the way, and I don't know why people don't believe him now after seeing him in office for 4 years and 9 months. He really doesn't like war. He wants to stop it, so I think that's a priority. Again, he feeds off of momentum and optimism, and he's got both of those things going right now. He's got Europe in his back pocket because they're looking at him going, maybe Trump is right about how to handle these sorts of things. So maybe there's some progress in Russia.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.